Hey there everybody, moving on to making posters, signage, signboard, freestanding, advertising fun for infinity. So I've just put these together, again, Illustrator in this case, Illustrator, Photoshop, anything like that. A mixture of me adding text, stealing imagery, putting it back together again, just to make some stuff. It's mostly Corvus Belli related. I just thought it was appropriate for the game, trying to keep things in line with Infinity itself. So I've printed these out as a single A4 sheet of paper. I've cropped it so that each of these, I don't even know the exact dimensions, I think they're about 70mm. No? About 85mm by about 180mm tall. To make these, I would be turning these into these, so you've got freestanding, sort of triangular advertising. The kind of thing you find just running down the street, freestanding the streets, even in a small city like where I live. And in bigger cities you see a lot more of these kind of things. And at the moment this is just freestanding folded. I'm just going to show you how I'm putting these together so they're solid structures. But I'm also going to reinforce them because they're big enough for dudes to stand on top of. So I want them to be strong enough for dudes to stand on top of. I should make them so I can take them to pieces and change the images, just because over time they're going to get battered and worn, you know. Also, it might come a day where I'm just like, nope, I want new images, and I could always glue them over the top, or I can replace them. That's the aim. So I'll just show you how this is assembled. So first things first, there's just one bit of trimming to do. And it's just taking off this top edge. You may notice, or you might not quite be able to see, I've got thin blue lines running around the edges of all thing, each of the sort of poster images, and that's mostly just to create the illusion of luminescence. So I just cropped off that top edge, and then the rest of it will all be capped. So then there's just 4 scores to do. Scoring is where you don't quite cut through the thing, or you just lightly run a blade over the top. So I'm not really pressing, right? I've got a sharp blade, I'm using the weight of the blade, I'm dragging it over. There's a little bit of white material in between these, it's unnecessary. I'm using it partly as a guider, partly as just space. I was up till, I don't know, it was up till 1 o'clock in the morning last night sorting these out. It took me about an hour and a half to sort out each poster, right? Because it's quite easy just to rip the artwork, but it's then reassembling the artwork in a way which fits the format. And by the way, all the people that did this artwork are amazing. Little disclaimer there, none of this is my artwork, other than I've just created compositions out of other people's artwork and done some of my own artwork, but my artwork's like so super basic, I don't even count that as work really. And it was stuff that I already had made up for the animations for my channel. And once you've scored these, if you don't score it, by the way, photo paper has a plasticized layer over the top, which makes it a nightmare for folding and causes it to crease in all kinds of awful ways. So now, where you've got it scored, it should fold pretty easily, just like that. When you fold, make sure you fold it all the way back and you smooth it out, because otherwise what you end up with is uneven tension running through the paper, and that's what causes sort of wiggly edges. So I'm just going to get this folded up and I'll show you the next bit. So that's that all folded. So the next thing is just how to make the two sides stick together. Now you could just glue these two edges together, but I don't find that the most useful way of doing it, because you want these to be invisible so that when you're looking down it, it's a clean triangle without any bits sticking in, tabs sticking into the middle. In order to do that, I'm choosing my own measurements for this, but if I put the edge of the steel rule against the top edge of the paper, after I've trimmed off that top bit, which is about, I don't know, 10-15mm, 15mm I'd say, I'm taking 5mm and then 1mm closer to the paper's edge. I'm cutting down to, sorry, that's 5cm, not 5mm, and then 1mm back, down to 150mm or 15cm, and then 1mm over Now this creates a cut, an incision there, and you do the opposite on the other end. So you put the steel on, get it flush with your top edge, your bottom edge, make sure it's flush running down the edge that you want cut. You cut down to 50mm and go 1mm over, and then you go 15 and 1mm. The reason you're doing this so you create like a 2mm gap is because in order to get these to fit together, fold them around, feed the bottom one in. I've always been feeding the bottom one in first, that's just my choice, you don't have to do the bottom one first, you can do whichever you like first. Put it all the way down so it's heading towards, and then this top one, you just bend it all the way back to the point where you've done that, and this is where you need those couple of mil, and it's just where you're wedging this through, because I don't want to entirely fold it back hard, because if you get a hard fold line there it will make life difficult for you, and I can't really show you what's going on inside, I don't have megatastic filming capability, but there I've just pulled the tab through, and you see you get this sort of double tab arrangement inside here, where you have one tab here and one tab there, and that's what I'm going to glue. So I'll glue. So the next thing is just fitting in this frame. I am fitting it into this because I'm a dumbass, really. There's two ways of doing this kind of thing, right? One is you make the frame and you fit the posters to the frame, which might be easier, but when you're doing stuff digitally, even if you use exact measurements, sometimes it doesn't print the size you want it to do, so then you're going to fiddle around and you're going to do lots of print jobs. So it's a case of whether you prefer fitting or whether you prefer fiddling about with digital prints to make sure they're the right size, or else option 3, which is perhaps the best option, do your digital prints oversized, cut them down to fit. So yeah, I've been a dumbass, but it doesn't matter. So I'm just fitting this frame. The way I'm making this frame, this is the advantage of fitting, is I'm just using very thin bits of Powderlight. Yeah, I'm kind of using Powderlight for everything because it's kind of material I have available right now, because I bought a load of it for building buildings. I'm going to have more buildings on the way very soon. But to build this frame, you need 6. I've cut it centimetre width, and each of these is cut to be the same height as one of these. So I've got 6 of them, and then you do have to place these carefully on the interior. But then I've got another 6 of these as well, so I've got 3 at the top and 3 at the bottom, and this just creates some rigidity to this structure. I will point out that if I was just making these for personal use rather than for filming purposes, I would fold probably that side in this case, I'd fold that in half so it would fold in on itself, and thusly you could store them flat and you could have a whole load of these kept really small. But I'm trying to do this for videoing purposes, so I want them to look as neat as possible all the time. But if you do that, just printing stuff out, folding it up like this, it's a super quick way of generating cool looking scenery. The other thing I just wanted to show you is, if you are going to be doing this, drop them in consecutively, so you always have one going in like that and one going in like that. What you don't want is one side of the triangle with 2 of these bits in this sort of manner, because that means that these bits aren't quite wide enough to slot over the top, which is a damn nuisance. So make sure that you're always doing so you've got, there'd be one in there and one in there. So you've got the width of one, creating a spacer all the way around. I'll show you what I mean in a second. You see what I mean? I've got it starting coming out of the same angle of each corner. So then when I put in the next one in each corner, it just forces the spacing in the triangle so that you've got enough space that these risers that I've already pre-cut will fit for all of them. Otherwise you're moving into the territory of baffling, and considering this is going to be invisible because it's going to be inside, I don't really want to fuss about with that. So just get this frame in and then I'll show you the tops. So here's the frame in. I just want to point out that I have glued together these two pieces in each corner so that this forms like a pretty rigid structure now. It removes the flex from most directions. So the next bit is just putting on the lid and the walls. So here you have it, the finished advertisements. These are all freestanding. I did think about walling them in around the bottom, but to be quite honest with you, if you've tried making an equilateral triangle which is just the right size, it's a proper nightmare, especially if you're not like megatastic at maths like me. And also the beveling of the edges in order to make everything seamless is like, just does drive me a bit mad. So here you go, hope you like. I've just sort of painted gold and black in on these bits on the top, mostly red for the triangular top. Bit gold and black to make it look like solar panels stuck on top, like super efficient solar panels, not like the ones we have now, because it's 175 years in the future. And even now, the World Bank and, well, Norway has already started to do it, but the World Bank's going to follow suit, and they're already talking about investing primarily in renewable resources rather than in oil and petroleum. So 175 years from now, who knows, we could be living off pure clean green energy, which would be pretty amazing. So hope this has been of some use to you. You've enjoy your modelling. Take care everybody and have a good one. Bye bye.